Hey everybody, this is Steliepti with Closeout, and today I want to talk about the they came to us trap or they came to us fallacy with you. This is going to be all about designing an inbound funnel that doesn't just, mindlessly force you to accept every inbound lead and every inbound trial and every inbound prospect that comes and knocks on your door. When you think about outbound sales, one thing that we've taught for many years now is that you can't succeed with outbound sales and designing an outbound funnel if you go too broad, if you don't segment and define your market and your buyer very, very specifically. So we've taught concepts like putting together an ideal customer profile and then going and researching that profile and that type of person and prospect and buyer very, very individually, doing it manually at high quality but at low quantity, and designing sales approaches and sales campaigns that go 20, 30, or 40 outreach emails or calls a day, but very, very targeted, versus going super broad and sending a cold email campaign that is like, 50,000 emails and you just blast them with one untargeted email and expect to get some kind of a success at the end of the funnel in terms of the response rates and the calls scheduled and demos had and conversions made into real customers. It doesn't work. If you don't understand who your customer is, you can't sell effectively to them, you can't message effectively to them, and you can't have a conversation that converts with them. The same thing actually applies in inbound sales as well, in inbound funnels. And one of the biggest mistakes I've seen Startup Zoo and SaaS companies do is that even when they are mindful and targeted when it comes to their outbound approach, they are completely untargeted when it comes to the inbound approach, right? So any type of person, any type of business that comes to them, they respond to and they react to. And that can be an incredibly bad idea. Just because somebody comes and fills out a contact form or emails you or your sales team or signs up for a free trial, just because these people come to you doesn't mean these people are good customers. Doesn't mean you have to sell to them. Doesn't mean that you have to jump on a call or a demo or schedule a meeting with them. Just because they come to you doesn't mean you have to respond to them and give them all your time, all your attention, and all your energy. And let's run through a few of these examples, and I'll highlight one which is the worst and the most, the biggest trap in terms of the cost it can be to your business, right? So a lot of people that come to you, they might be too small, or you're always going to have some of them being way too small, right? And just not ideal use cases for you, right? So students might be signing up for your product, although your product is for VPs of marketing or sales or product. You might have people signing up for your tool that are not using your tool in the intended way, right? So bad use cases can be a big theme of inbound interest that doesn't convert or converts into toxic relationships and customers. Too small, right? People that don't have the money, people that can't really get the value out of the solution to pay you the amount of money and give you the type of feedback that you really need and your product team needs to build a successful company. Too large is the worst of the they came to us traps, and I'll talk about this in a second, but you could have just use cases or types of organizations come to you that are you're absolutely not prepared to sell to or build products for, features for, or support and service. Like government agencies might get in touch with you. You might have a lot of inquiries that seems super sexy and appealing, but they really are just business development opportunities, right? People come to you or companies come to you and sign up for a trial or want to set up a call or a demo that are interested in a business partner relationship and not really in a customer relationship. And you may or may not be ready for business partnerships or channel partnerships. You might have potential investors that sign up and act as customers and suck up a lot of your time and energy. You might have competitors signing up for your product or service. You might have people from countries, international trials and inbound interest that, again, you're not really prepared to service from a support point of view or from a needs point of view, or even from an internationalization point of view or localization point of view, because your product doesn't support their currency or their language or their cultural expectations. There's many inbound interest that will come to you that is not good for you. And you need to gate your inbound funnel in a way that directs as many of these bad use cases away from your service, and that is prioritizing the ones that could be good for you so that your sales team, your success team, your support team, and your product team can focus all their attention or most of their attention and energy to the ideal customer from an inbound perspective, and spend as little time as possible with those unideal customers, right? And not step into the trap. The worst, and this is the one I wanted to talk about a little bit, is the too large use case. The enterprise customer. You know how many times I talk to SMB businesses that are entertaining the idea of closing an enterprise level deal because the enterprise customer came to them. And I always hear the same excuse. Well, Stelly, we weren't interested in selling to them. Well, Stelly, we didn't really want to go after them, but they came to us. Well, Stelly, when I asked them, are you really prepared for enterprise sales? Do you have enterprise sales expertise and experience? Does your product, is that designed for an enterprise customer? Does your sales cycle and sales team ready for that type of a customer? Do you have the right support and consulting and implementation and account management team? Do you have the right money and funding? Do you have a pricing that can afford servicing that type of customer? Oftentimes their answer is, well, Stelly, no, but they came to us. Stelly, they came to us, right? We didn't really seek them out. So they came to us and they told us they found our tool and they love it and they want to use it and they want to pay us a lot of money. And so the only reason we want to sell to them is because they came to us. They came to us is not a good enough excuse or a good enough reason. And this is what's the most important thing that I want to share with you. Just because they came to you doesn't mean you have to sell to them. Just because they came to you doesn't mean you have to give them a demo or entertain selling to them or onboarding them as a customer. Just because they came to you, you're not forced or have the responsibility to service them. If you're not set up for servicing this type of customer, especially in the enterprise example, you need to just turn them away. And I had this conversation just the other day with a founder that said, well, Stelly, what do we tell them? Well, what do we tell them? You tell them no. It's as simple as that. Just tell them no. I mean, it's not that difficult. No. We appreciate your interest. We're flattered, but we're not quite ready for enterprise customers, or our product is not built for enterprise customers. So here's some alternatives that we would want to point to you. Here's something we would advise you to do. Just look at these solutions. Look at these competitors. No, we're not interested in this deal. I don't want to jump on a call because I can't really help you. I can't really sell to you. My product is not really built for you. Just because they came to you doesn't mean you have to sell to them. Just because they came to you doesn't mean your salespeople have to sell to them. It's very, very important. Because a large enterprise deal, if you're not prepared for it, can crush your company. If your pricing is not prepared for it, is designed for it, if your sales team isn't prepared for it, if your company was not planning to sell to this customer, you should not go after them just because they came to you, right? So there's a bunch of things you can do to disqualify people, right? And to prioritize your inbound flow. I mean, things you can do to prevent people from coming to you is really analyzing and being mindful about your marketing. Is your marketing too broad? Is your marketing present in places where the wrong crowd and the wrong prospects are around, right? Are you advertising at places that will attract the wrong type of crowd, the wrong type of inbound leads? We had this example, we had this case with Close in the early days where somebody was telling us, hey, why aren't you in the App Store? If you just had Close, the Mac app on the Mac App Store, you could get a shit ton of leads. And we tried this for a few days in the very early days. And it was true. We got hundreds and hundreds of downloads, right? Free downloads. And then we got a lot of noisy prospects and trials that didn't really convert because we didn't want to sell to them because they were not the right type of customer. They were too small, too obscure. They were coming from industries and verticals that we couldn't service, and they wanted things out of our product that we weren't prepared to give to them. So eventually, we closed up shop on the App Store, and we said, we'd rather not have this artificial vanity metric of having hundreds and hundreds of trials every day that come from this source if these trials are not really the type of customer we want to service and attract. And so being mindful of where you do your marketing, being mindful of how you advertise, and even using disqualifiers in your advertisement, right? So sometimes you'll find that if you have a paid ad, for instance, you can make it so appealing and so sexy that lots of people click it. But then you realize too many people click it, right? Or the wrong types of people are attracted to your ad and click it and come to your page and sign up and give you their email, and they create just noise without conversion and without success. So what you can do is add little things to make the wrong type of people not even click in the first place, right? So instead of just saying the CRM for everybody, right? Or the CRM of the future, you say the inside sales CRM, right? This disqualifies people that want a field sales force or that have a field sales force and want a solution for that. You could disqualify it by not just use case, but by industry. You could say the inside sales CRM for tech companies, for startups, for real estate agents, and that if I'm a small doctor's practice or if I'm a government agency and I see the inside sales CRM for startups, I'm not going to click on that, or less likely to click on that. You could add pricing if your pricing is a disqualifier, right? So instead of saying free trial, everybody's welcome, right? You say the best inside sales software or tool in the world, starting at $65 a month, or starting at $400 a month, or CRM for real professionals that care about productivity, only $500 a month, right? You add the price tag that again disqualifies too small of a client, too small of a customer, or you add something that disqualifies the really large organizations. The CRM for startups and SMBs. That tells you as an enterprise client that this is not really a solution for you. So you can add disqualifiers there. You could, in your website, your design, your logo, your branding could speak to who you want, but also could speak in a way that pushes away the people you don't want, right? I'm pretty sure that when a large government agency goes to Close.io and they see our Arrested Development references, in some of the language that we use, they might not find that attractive or professional. And that's good, that's fine, that's totally what we want, because we don't want these types of customers because they're not right for us and we're not right for them. You could have disqualifiers in your sign-up form, right? Your sign-up form could tell the person that's trying to get to you that they might want to reconsider, right? So you might be asking them, hey, are you at least 25 people in large organization, or are you an organization that requires one of these three things, right? You could ask them about their budget. You could ask the person that's signing up about his role. So if it's a student and you ask, hey, please select from a dropdown. Are you a VP of sales, sales manager, or a senior sales executive, right? Or other, you force them to select other and write in their student, right? And just disqualify them a little bit. And then your pricing obviously might be very inclusive or exclusive. And the way you design your trial, having a free trial versus not free trial, having a trial that requires a credit card upfront versus not, even allowing somebody to trial your product or not can be a big part of this, right? Many companies that focus on the enterprise exclusively, they might not even offer you a free trial. They might never give you access to play with a product unless you've talked to a sales rep. Right? That can be a disqualifier for a student that just want to play around with something, or a developer that's thinking about building a little solution that's similar to your product, so they want to play around with a little bit of software out there. They don't want to go on a call with a sales rep. So if you don't offer a free trial, they might never check it out or play around with it. Now, I know that some of you might think, well, but what if we're in the super early stages and we want to do customer development? We want to figure out, should we sell to large enterprise clients or the SMB? Should we maybe offer this to small professional or end consumers or not? What if we don't know who our customer is? What do we do in the really, really early days? My advice to you is you need to ask yourself, what is the time investment it's going to take to really uncover and figure out if this is a market we should go after? And what is the reward that we're going to get if that type of customer is really, it turns out to be a good customer for us. And in the enterprise example, it might take you 18 months to find out if the enterprise is really right for you, if you don't already know, if you're not an enterprise executive or if somebody that has deep and extensive enterprise experience. If you're considering, let's say, as an example, SMB or enterprise, and you're like, how should we decide? Well, ask yourself, can your company survive spending 18 months, almost 2 years of your life going after a market and then discovering it's not right for you? In 99% of the cases, you can't. So if you have both choices, why not going after the SMB sector where it might only take you 1 quarter, 3 months to see some traction, to get some customer development insights, to see some funnel metrics from marketing to trial to converted customer to churn or retention. You can get some real metrics and numbers in 3, 4, 5 months. And then if you discover that that isn't working, you still have 1.5 years to go after larger customers. Versus if you tried larger customers first, and if that doesn't work out, you want to go after smaller ones, it might be too late. You might have already run out of money, time, energy, resourcefulness, passion, excitement, right? And people. So you need to ask yourself, what is the time we have to invest to explore some of these verticals, and how can we decrease the time to get some real results? Don't be fooled. Enterprise sales, government sales, these things take time. And my advice to you is if you're not fully committed to it, you might not want to go after it just because they came to us. All right, I hope this was useful and valuable to you. Make sure to go to blog.close.io and subscribe to our blog if you haven't already. Send me an email, stelly@close.io, if you have follow-up questions. And until next time, let's go get them.